Today, my focus is on health, exercise, and the Greek diet. I have a personal story to tell. I've lost 35 pounds since last season, basically by following the golden rules of Mediterranean eating and living. I'm here in Messinia, about to meet my good friend Dean Karnazes, who's in town to run the Navarino challenge, and he's gonna share some tips about eating and exercising with me. And in the kitchen, we'll whip up a superfood cabbage salad. The more color in a salad, the healthier it is. Bacalhau, salt cod, with tomatoes, onions, and raisins. Greece has amazing fish dishes, and this is definitely one of them. And gigantes, giant beans, baked with spinach and feta. Look how hearty that is. Beans, beautiful beans. Join me on my Greek table as I explore Mediterranean living in this exemplary place, Messinia. The region of Messinia in the southwest Peloponnese is one of the most fascinating parts of Greece. The whole cornucopia of the Mediterranean diet is here, from iconic products like the Kalamata olive, to oranges, honey, olive oil, and so much more. Home to some of the most important archaeological sites, but more significantly, a place that stands out as a paradigm to the best of the Mediterranean. Messinia has it all. Great climate, great food, and a great lifestyle fit for athletes and mere mortals alike. I'm here to explore its healthy side and to meet up with friend and ultramarathoner Dean Karnazes, a fellow Greek-American staying at a nearby villa and in the region to run the Navarino Challenge race. I've changed my own life and eating habits based on the tenets of the Mediterranean diet. Between that and exercising regularly, I feel better than ever. Whew. Hello there.
Diane, look at you and you're running.
I'm running.
Bravo.
I'm running to you in Messina.
It's so nice to see you.
Good to see you.
I see you're exercising now. This is fantastic.
I lost a lot of weight. I work out. I run a little bit, not like you, but...
I'd love to show you some technique if you want. Would you go running with me?
I think so, if you don't mind slowing down a little bit. The ball of my foot first? Kind of the
it's
middle.
called the mid-foot. You strike in the mid-foot. Shorter strides, more rapid foot turnover, and arm extenuation. You're doing perfectly, Diane.
Okay, so the arms are important.
The arm swing is very important.
It's really beautiful to run in nature.
The air here is it's so pure and so fresh. I could live here. I really could.
Yeah, that's the dream of every Greek American. Dean Karnazes, this salad's for you. I'm making a great superfood salad with all these wonderful fresh vegetables. And the first step is to grate the carrot. I've already got my cabbage grated, and I've got a whole selection of other great products from Messinia. I'm getting the carrots right into the cabbage before I start shredding this beautiful red cabbage. We all learn from a very young age in Greece that the more color in a salad, the healthier it is. I'm gonna get the pomegranate in here next. Pomegranates are only in season for a couple of months, and it's one of those things that really speaks to the heart and soul of all Mediterranean cooking. Eat things in season. Kalamata figs go in here next. This is going right over the salad. It is so pretty. I'm adding some sunflower seeds to this. I really like to add seeds and nuts to my salads. They're just just want to toast these a little bit to bring out some of that beautiful nutty flavor. This is going right into the mix. You see they're nice and toasted, very crunchy. Next, chopped green olives. You can also use chopped calamatas. And just really nice, fresh, finely chopped dill, just to perk this up even more. When I thought about a dressing for my superfood, super healthy, dedicated to Dean Karnazes salad, I thought about local ingredients from Messinia. Oranges for one. A little bit of local balsamic vinegar and Messinian olive oil. I'm just gonna start to whisk until this is nice and emulsified. So that's exactly what we want. The oil and the acid have kind of come together, they're emulsified. I'm gonna add a little bit of this mustard and whisk that in. The honey. A pinch of local Greek sea salt from the area. And just a pinch of pepper. See how smooth and velvety the dressing is? That's exactly what we want. I'm gonna pour that right into the salad. I like to toss my salads by hand. I suggest you take off your beautiful Greek jewelry before you do that. I certainly do. You can see how beautiful this seasonal Greek salad is. I want to be sure to get a bunch of everything. This is great. It's got great texture, lots of complex flavors. I'm getting briny olives and sweet figs and the orange in the dressing and the nice sweet acidity of the balsamic. It's all coming through. What does one drink with a superfood healthy Greek salad? Super healthy Greek mountain tea. That's really refreshing, very grassy and herbaceous. The perfect drink after a good workout. I would definitely run a mile to learn even more about good nutrition and about the beautiful flavors of Messinia.
You see this?
Yeah.
It's amazing. What are those, eggplant?
These are eggplants, yeah. Tomatoes are over there.
Yeah, I see there's parslings here, too.
You know better than I do, but it's like a
That's
miracle,
a miracle
food. I know that you have a nutrition background. I'm also, a cook who specializes in Greek and Mediterranean food. So for me, vegetables are basically what I eat. How important are they when you're an athlete the way you are?
Huge. I would say that 40 to 50% of my diet is vegetables. When I come to Greece, I go crazy because the vegetables are so good.
Are great.
How do you make basil taste like this? The soil in Messinia is really good soil. It's really healthy, vibrant soil. So the vegetables they produce here are so flavorful.
Do you cook vegetables? Do you eat a lot of salads?
Most of my vegetables are raw. Ample olive oil, ample lemon, ample sea salt for electrolytes. I do eat meat, mostly fish. I would say 70 to 80% of my diet regarding protein comes from the sea.
For me, I've thinned out a little bit.
You look great, Diane. Be good to yourself. You look fantastic.
I'm trying to be good to myself.
Yeah.
I gave up a lot of processed carbs, basically.
Sugar and processed carbs are the evil, and they wreck a lot of people's diets.
Dairy?
I don't eat any dairy. Well, I shouldn't say that. I do eat Greek yogurt.
Me too. That's what I eat. And if I can get sheep's milk yogurt, all the better.
It's even better, yeah.
So I am looking really forward to making, a nice salad together and maybe using some of what's in this garden. So shall we move on?
Let's go, yeah,
okay.
Let's go eat.
Any conversation about healthy eating has to start with a conversation about eating beans. And that's exactly what I'm going to cook for you today. These beautiful Greek giant beans. Before you do anything to them, you've got to soak them. I soak them overnight. They need about 8 to 10 hours of soaking. You can see that they've almost doubled in size. I have my beans already boiling. Even something as simple as boiling beans has its little tricks. One of them is to skim the foam off the top, because that will make you a little flatulent. The other little secret to cooking beans is not to use too much water, because you don't want to dilute the nutrients or the flavor of the beans. So you can see I've got about 1 inch of water above the beans. Never add salt. You add salt always at the end, because if you cook your beans with salt, you'll be cooking rocks. The last little secret, bring them to a boil, lower the heat, gentle simmer, and keep the lid ajar. The gentle simmer will keep the beans from breaking apart. The next step is the spinach. And the first thing I want to do here with the spinach is get some of the liquid out. So in order to do that, I'm going to salt it. This is an old-fashioned technique. You kind of knead it in the colander, and by doing that, you retain all of the nutrients in the spinach. You want the salt to kind of work into every bit of the spinach. What we're looking for on this is for the spinach to be nice and wilted, but still have that beautiful emerald green spinach color. I'm gonna leave the spinach to drain a little bit and get going on the next step in this recipe, which is cutting my leek and sauteing the leek and the onion in a little bit of this golden Messinian olive oil. I have to say, I love to teach people about cooking beans the way we do them in Greece, because this kind of food is really good for you. It's very filling. It's very satisfying. I think these are done. They're nice and soft. I'm gonna drain my beans next. You can see how plump they are, but you can also see how they've retained their shape. And that's really important when you're cooking any bean, but especially when you cook giant beans. We also want to keep the cooking liquid, because we're going to need it when we bake them. I'm going to mix all of my vegetables into this. Spinach is going right in here. The leek and onion mixture comes next. The herbs go in next. So I've got chopped fresh dill. I'm using a little bit of chopped parsley as well. A little bit of black pepper. At this point, I can add a little bit of salt. We're gonna add feta to this, so you wanna be a little bit easy on the salt. I'm using half the tomatoes for now. The other half are gonna go on top. And half the feta cheese. I'm using Greek feta for this dish. It's always a combination of sheep or sheep and goat's milk, never cow's milk. A little bit of Messinian olive oil. A little bit of the cooking liquid from the beans. And we want to use this judiciously, because we don't want them to be soup. Just want to get this mixed up. Do this gently so you don't break the giant beans. Just looking at this makes you feel healthy. Ready to get this into the oven. A little bit of olive oil on top. The rest of the tomato just spooned gently over the top. And I like to bake this with a little bit of a crust. So I use a bit of breadcrumb. Crumbled Greek feta goes really well with the beans. Just a last sprinkling of breadcrumbs, because it's really nice to have sort of a crunchy top over this. This is going right into the oven, which I've preheated to 350. I always cover it first, and I do that first with parchment, then with a little bit of aluminum foil on top. And that's gonna bake at 350 for about an hour. At some point, I'm gonna take the paper off and the aluminum foil and just let it cook without a cover so that it gets a beautiful crust on top. My kitchen smells like the healthy countryside of Messinia with dinner just about ready, and it sure is. Look how hearty that is. Beans, beautiful beans. This looks amazing. Just a little bit of raw olive oil on top, which is how we would typically eat this. I have warm pita bread here. Time to taste my gigantes. This is country cooking at its absolute best. The beans combined with the spinach, the tomato is delicious. The best part is that crunchy topping with the feta cheese and the breadcrumbs. It's really good. Most of these rustic Greek bean dishes go really well with Greek rosés. And today I'm pairing this with a rosé from northern Greece, from Epanomi, made with the Xinomavro grape. Very full-bodied, really nice aromas. I'm getting strawberry and a lot of pink grapefruit. And that's that balanced acidity, which works really well with these rich olive oil-based bean dishes. Isi Gian. It looks like we've got the whole Mediterranean diet on the table here, right?
It's amazing. Yeah, no, it's everything I love.
So I'm gonna start making a salad.
These tomatoes are so flavorful. I don't know how they pack so much flavor in tomato, but...
It's the sunshine, but today it's raining.
Well, I guess it's the rain as well, right?
It is the rain as well, of course. Some great
Cucumbers.
local cucumbers. Try one, they're really crunchy.
Again, how do they get a cucumber to taste so good?
Things are not watered nearly as much in Greece as they are in the United States.
Ah, so it's the concentration.
Yeah.
Ah.
Do you like green pepper?
I love green peppers. There's nothing here I don't love. We could use it all.
Do you want to add some of the arugula?
Absolutely.
Greek arugula is really
It's the
peppery.
best. It's really strong.
And some
Maybe
purslane.
Purslane is
Try-
a miracle.
add some.
It's the miracle food. It's a miracle
I
antioxidant
think so.
food.
It's got that very succulent, slightly sour flavor.
It goes wild everywhere. Everywhere. Diane, you're on a Dean diet now.
Not a little more.
You're forging. All right. Yeah, let's go for it.
A little salt.
Yeah. Oh, and this olive oil.
Some olive oil.
This
This
olive
is-
oil is amazing.
Local Messinian olive oil.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You like a lot of olive oil in your salad or a little?
This, because it tastes so flavorful, a lot. Yeah.
We just got a lot.
Some of the trees around here I've heard are 6,000 years old. Is that
Yeah,
right? I mean, is
some
that-
of them are. You can see some of them are quite old. They look like land sculptures. They're so beautiful. I'm just gonna mix this. You wanna add some sesame seeds to
I'd
this?
love to. Yeah.
Shall we share some?
I thought this was for me.
Oh, that's for
No,
you.
I'm
You
just
can have the whole thing.
I'll share some with you.
I know you told me you like to eat standing up.
I love eating standing up. I
That
love
to
it.
me, as a Greek, is very odd. I have to think about that a little bit. Why do you eat standing up?
I just think it helps the digestion.
Does it?
I find it helps the digestion. I don't do much of anything sitting down.
Oh, the tomatoes are like, they're so sweet. They're like strawberries. There's a lot of love that goes into growing stuff.
Well, and it shows right in the flavors of this
It does.
food.
I'm in love with this tomato.
Let's try some of the yogurt. You into that? Some of that honey, maybe some walnuts.
Sure. You said yogurt was the only dairy that you eat, right? Greek yogurt?
Unsweetened and full fat.
I am totally in tune with you in terms of full fat. Should we get some walnuts on here?
Yeah, I think so. What do you think? Is that enough?
Great. I have a sweet tooth, and I like to have something, a little something sweet after a meal, even if it's literally just a taste, a spoonful of yogurt and honey.
My spoon is dripping in honey, so.
Wow, that's so good. Now we have to run this off.
After good food, a good run.
Makes
Best
you feel,
feeling in the world.
Makes you feel young.
Yeah.
Might seem a little strange to see this big piece of salt cod on my kitchen counter, But the truth is that salt cod is a very important and pretty traditional fish, even though it's not a local Greek fish. It's sometimes called the mountain person's fish because it was typically sold by itinerant fishmongers who used to travel around the Greek mountains where fresh fish was not always easily available. The first thing you have to do with salt cod is desalt it. And you do that by placing it in a bowl or in a colander if you'd like, with plenty of fresh water. And I do this over the course of 2 or 3 days, depending on how thick the salt cod is. By the end of the 2 or 3 days, what you end up with is this beautiful, pearly white, rehydrated, unsalty salt cod. The first thing that goes into this dish are finely chopped red onions. I'm gonna get all this beautiful garlic in here. This is a very robust dish. And I've always learned growing up in a Greek-American kitchen that you dilute the tomato paste, but typically in the Peloponnesos, where the tomato paste actually is really intense, you add it to the onions, and that actually helps enhance the flavor even more. And now I'm going to dilute it with a little bit of white wine. The next thing that's going into this are these beautiful raisins. I'm ready to get my spices in here, and I would venture to say there isn't a tomato-based dish anywhere in the Peloponnesos that doesn't call for cinnamon. So I'm adding my cinnamon stick and a little bit of allspice and some cloves. Just a little bit of salt, because trust me, this is not at all salty now. I'm ready to add the fish. It's really tender, it's nice and thick, so it'll hold up well to this kind of cooking. And just a drizzle more of this lovely Messinian olive oil. I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh thyme to this. A few sprigs. A very subtle flavor, and it just looks really pretty. And it goes very well with fish. This is gonna simmer now for about 15 or 20 minutes. The fish is gonna be really tender. Wow. This is ready. It looks amazing. It's screaming for bread for this delicious sauce. Gonna get this served. Greece has amazing fish dishes, and this is definitely one of them. And I'm really looking forward to trying this. I want to get a little bit of the sauce spooned over this. One little sprig of thyme. Looks really good. A little bit of that bread. And you know it, this is coming. Just a little bit of that Messinian olive oil as a finishing touch. I have to taste some of this. It looks so pretty. There's a lot of unexpected flavor in this. You've got the raisins, that beautiful intense tomato paste flavor, the thyme, from all those beautiful herbs that grow everywhere. It just all comes together, and it makes salt cod Greek. And that's really what this is about. It's wonderful.
Your starting to run is fantastic.
You really did inspire me. After a conversation we had a couple of years ago, I remember what you told me. You said, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can start at any time. This was wonderful. Thank you for inviting me over.
I love having you here, Diane. You're welcome anytime. I think you should move here, too.
Yeah, that would be very nice, actually.
Yeah.
That would be very nice.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah. Well,
See you soon.
Okay. I might as well.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.